Hey, what's going on, guys? Jake here again, and today I'm actually going to be doing a three-part video. Essentially, it's going to be the unboxing, benchmarking, and conclusion part. And this is actually going to be for the GTX 960 by NVIDIA. This was just released last month. It's about a $200 card, so it's about where the GTX 760s sat at for a little while, and then the prices ramped up. But this is their newest card, the 960. It's got a 128-bit bus and some other specs we'll go into later. But this is going to be the unboxing and benchmarking of this baby. It's the SSC Super Clocked edition. And we'll go ahead and cut to the intro, and we'll go ahead and get started. Alrighty guys, so starting on the outside of the box, we have the big old layout here. We have 2 gigs of GDDR5 memory, ACX 2.0. This is the super clocked version, as I said earlier, with GameStream, GameWorks, G-Sync, and DirectX 12. On the bottom here, we just have some simple stuff in Dutch, Espanol, French, and Portuguese. It is NVIDIA Shield ready. Go ahead and flip over to the back. We have a DisplayPort, HDMI, DisplayPort, DVI, and DisplayPort, so you can have up to 4 monitors connected. We have NVIDIA Dynamic Super Resolution, which is pretty neat. Basically, if you have a 1080p monitor, you can set something in-game to get up to a 4K resolution on your 1080p monitor to make it look really sexy. We have NVIDIA MFAA, GameWorks technology, GameStream technology, G-Sync ready for G-Sync supported monitors, Microsoft DirectX 12, GPU Boost 2.0, vertical sync, surround technology, so you can have one of these in 3 monitor NVIDIA. Sorry about that, guys. Support for four concurrent displays, 1 dual-link DVI. It is SLI ready. It is does have that CUDA technology. PCI Express 3.0, I can't speak, OpenGL 4.4, OpenCL support, and the package contents: the GTX 960 graphics card, the utility disk, DVI to VGA adapter, 8-pin PCI power adapter, the user guide, and the accessory pack. So that's pretty much it. We'll go ahead and cut this baby open right here on the side. Now, ACX 2.0 does come with this little notification. It's right here on the outside of the box. Let me grab it really quickly. I don't want to just break it. Here we go. It says it's 26% cooler, 36% quieter, 250% lower fan power, and 400% increased fan lifespan. That is ACX 2.0. So my 760s have ACX. This is 2.0. It has more fan blades and definitely has some benefits right there. So we'll go ahead and throw that off to the side. Go ahead and get this card out of the box here. Now, this is not going to be for me. Again, this is going to be for my parents' build that should be up very soon, probably by the end of the week, because not all the parts are here yet. So we have that power adapter. Go ahead and flip that over. Here we have the user guide. We have the disc as well as a case badge. We have a little bit of a thing on ACX 2.0 here again. It's pretty neat. It's all fancy. Fancy EVGA, fancy. User guide once more. Toss that off to the side. We're not going to need that. Important notice. Now this is actually very neat. If you have this card, it will not crank up the fans until they get to 60 degrees Celsius or to 65 degrees Celsius. So until then, this card is going to stay passively cooled just with your case fans. So that's kind of neat. I'm not sure how I feel about that entirely. Just a little ad for EVGA power supplies. We're going to have another one of those coming for the parents' build. This one, this baby right here, just talking about the 900 series from NVIDIA. And the 2 stickers. These are a little different than the ones that I have, but they're the same color and same kind of scheme. Go ahead and toss that off to the side, and the DVI to VGA adapter right there. So here is the card. Now, let's go ahead and see if we can pop this baby open just like that. Ta-da! There we go with the ACX 2.0, guys. Wow, that actually looks pretty sleek. So I'll go ahead and show you some differences of the card in general. So we have a little bit of a longer card. The top part is definitely a little different. Go ahead and get all this plastic off. We have plastic over the fans. We have plastic over the entire top shroud, which will be no problem to take off. So let's go ahead and grab it right here, if we can, or right here. There we go. Peel it off nice and slowly. Da 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 da. Oh, that was a bit bad. Da da. Come here. Da 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 da. There we go. And it looks like we have two more down here on top of these. Go ahead and tear those off as well. There we go. There's one. It doesn't look like we have another one on the top. So we have the little rubber PCI Express connector cover right there. Here is the GTX 960. As you guys can see, we have these 11 swept flange blades babes instead of the 9 on the normal ACX 2. Or on the normal ACX cooler. In the back we have a matte black PCB that actually looks very, very nice. It looks like there's a little bit of an extended card. Not so much over here besides some capacitors. And of course, if from this angle you can see the copper heat pipes and the heat stacks. I'm sorry about that. There you go. Go ahead and go over to this angle. There you go. GTX 960 super clocked. Go ahead and get that right off. Sorry about the bird, guys. And we only have one SLI finger right up here, so this is only two-way SLI compatible. And that's pretty much it for the unboxing. We do have only one 8-pin power connector, which is super nice. Going to the side, you see those 3 copper heat pipes once more. So we're going to go ahead and get this installed into the system, and we're going to run 3D Mark Valley. We're going to run some other benchmarks, basically puts it to the limits, and we're going to see how this guy performs. Alrighty guys, so the 960 is installed in the system. For simple purposes, we are actually going to connect 2 monitors. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the DVI right there. And we are going to do the HDMI as well. Right there. No need to screw it in at the current point in time. Go ahead and flip on the switch, power the system up. GPU is plugged in, fans are spinning, we are good to go. It doesn't have any light up LEDs. That's actually the one thing I kind of wish it did have, but unfortunately it doesn't, which is kind of a, you know, something you can't really do anything about. We are booting into the BIOS real quick here. Don't need to do anything, save configurations and exit. And the fans are off now. No more spinning. The temperature has obviously cooled down quite a bit, and obviously it probably does that on startup anyway. So we are starting Windows. It looks like it is going to switch over to this monitor as soon as Windows is done booting. Fans are still off. Okay, it's only on one monitor already. USB is taking a little while to recognize itself. Recognize itself. Recognize itself. Yep, preset. There we go. Okie dokie. Alrighty, we are logged in. I'm going to go ahead and boot up for a second, and we'll go ahead and do some benchmarks. Alrighty guys, so here I have GPU-Z open about the GTX 960. We have that 128-bit bus, 1279 GPU clock, 1753 memory, and 1342 on the boost. Now that's pretty good actually. I don't think we're going to be doing any overclocking with this baby. Right down here we have NVIDIA Precision X or EVGA Precision X open. I brought down the temperature target to 72 degrees Celsius just because that's kind of a good operating range. Kept everything else the same, no overclocking. And without the fan spinning, we're sitting at about 37 degrees Celsius. Alrighty guys, so the first benchmark we're going to be running is the Valley benchmark. We are going to be testing it on the Extreme preset just for the hell of it. Now it doesn't look like we can change the resolution for some reason. Not sure why it's at 720p instead of 1080. Let's go ahead and change that right now. So right now we are running at a very smooth 58 FPS. This is not the benchmark, but let's go ahead and do that now. Right up here in the top we have the temperature, and it's currently reading about 54 degrees Celsius. So as soon as it hits 60, the fans are going to go ahead and start spinning. So now we're at 57, 58, 59, and almost there. Maybe it might start off at 65, 63, 64, and 65. And the fans are kicking on. There's one fan spinning up, and there's the second fan spinning up. So just about 66 degrees Celsius. I'm going to go ahead and benchmark this right now, and we'll go ahead and get back to you when the benchmarking is over and show you the good scores. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the benchmark with an FPS of 60.4, a score of 2,528, with a minimum FPS of 29.1 and a max of 112. This is on the 4790K build that I have over here, 4.0 gigahertz with the GTX 960. The settings are a little odd, 1920 by 1080, custom preset, and high quality. That's still pretty freaking good. So we're going to go ahead and quit this. It's going to go ahead and probably cut down the temperatures quite a bit. It's probably going to cut off the fans in just a second here. And the next one we're going to be doing is the Heaven benchmark, which will pop up right here. Oh, that's not the Heaven benchmark. That's not the Heaven benchmark. That's the Heaven benchmark. There we go. Alrighty, we'll go ahead and run it on ultra quality just because it showed up like that. Anti-aliasing at X8. Alrighty, I think we'll go ahead and do that. Multi-monitor disabled. Run, it's going to be in full screen, of course. There we are. And I will go ahead and start the benchmark before we do anything else. Alrighty, let's see what we got here. Here's the benchmark running. Wow, we're only in 30s FPSs, but we'll go ahead and start the benchmark. And I will get back to you as soon as the benchmark is over after these 26 scenes. Alrighty guys, and we are back with the Unigen Heaven Benchmark 4.0 results. With an average FPS of 41.6, a score of 10,049, a minimum FPS of 26.1, and a max of 79.6, aka 80. We are on the same build. The only settings are the render differences with DirectX 3D, Direct 3D11, 1080p, X8. Anti-aliasing times 8, full screen, custom preset, ultra quality. But for ultra quality, that did pretty well, especially staying at, let's see what it is right now. It hasn't gone higher than this the entire benchmark. 67 to 68 degrees. That's pretty damn good. That is pretty damn good for a two fan card. With the new Maxwell technology, that is pretty damn good. So we're going to go ahead and close out of this. And the next benchmark is going to be, let's see, I think we'll go ahead and do 3D Mark. We'll go ahead and do Fire Strike. Go ahead and open that up here. 3D Mark. I'm not going to do 3D Mark 11. I might, but strictly I sort of kind of don't want to, just because it only is the demo and can only go to 720p instead of 1080, and I want all of them to be at 1080p. Going to go ahead and not include the demo for Fire Strike. Gonna go ahead and run this baby right now, and we'll stick through it. We'll stick through it because it's not a very long benchmark at all, and we'll see how it fares through the entire thing. And here we go. It's going to go ahead and run the system info. I'm going to go ahead and bring the camera down a little bit and then get it level with the screen, and we'll go ahead and watch. No, you don't have to listen to me. Right now we're just sitting at a pretty good 50 degrees Celsius. The fans are turned off. This is graphics test one. We do have the FPS counter up here in the top screen, but it doesn't really matter. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Right now we got a solid 35, 36 FPS. Looks like it's doing pretty well so far. Reading 30s. Haven't seen it dip below 30 yet. $39, $40, $40 at the very end of the benchmark. That's a good sign. That'll bring up the graphics scores just a little bit. Graphics test 2. This one's a little bit more demanding. And here we go. And now we're sitting on 25, 26 FPS. 40s. That's a good sign. Shut up, Zeus. You're not part of this. Poor guy. 29s right now. I can't change any settings for this. This is as high as it gets, and I don't have any say in changing any part of it, which is kind of unfortunate. I think we just saw an FPS dip of about 23 right there. $29, $30, $31, $32 at the very end of the benchmark. That'll bring up the scores a little bit again. If not, keep them roughly where they should be. We're going to go ahead and do a physics test. I believe the physics are still on the GPU and not the CPU, I think. I could be wrong. Let's go ahead and see. Yep, I believe they are on the GPU. So we're reading 24, 23, 22 FPS with an average of about 24, 25. Simple physics test, no big deal. 26 right there. 22, 21, 24, 25, 23 at the very end of the benchmark. Now we're going to go ahead and do a combined test. So the statues in the background are going to collapse while these dudes are fighting. And this one's pretty intense. Even my GTX 760s can't get above 19 FPS, which is pretty crazy. So we might go ahead and zoom in on the FPS counter that's down there. Come on now. You can do it. A little bit more. A little bit more. Go, go, go. Go, 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 go. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Come on. Almost there. There you go. Alrighty, guys. Here we go. It's looking pretty choppy right now. Right now we're reading 11 and 12 FPS. 12, 12, 13.0. It's going to go ahead and end in a minute here. There it is. That's the ending, and we'll see what the 960 gets on 3D Mark Firestrike. The final score is 6,339, which is actually not too bad at all. Now, it is, once you pull up the score, it's better than 69% of all results. So it's not better than a 4770K and a Titan, but it does fare pretty well. The temperatures seemed like they were holding up very, very, very well. Look at that, guys. Let's see. Go ahead and go to about 1 minute in. The GPU reached about 71 degrees Celsius, and I did set it to a 72 degrees Celsius mark where it should stay. So as soon as the GPU hits that, the fans crank up as much as possible and keep that GPU temperature right there where I wanted it to be. Now I think we have one more benchmark to do, and I think that's going to be Crysis 3. Now Crysis 3 is on high. It's generally pretty demanding, so we're going to go ahead and run that. That's going to be pretty sweet. I think I'm just going to start straight from the beginning, and that will be good. We'll go ahead and analyze the FPS and see what we get on that as well. And I'll be right back once the benchmark starts. Alrighty guys, this is probably the most intense part of the game right here, if not one of the most intense parts. Alrighty, let's see what's going on here. We are on a boat. It's raining. It's pretty crazy. We're looking at some solid 45, 50 FPSs.
Make a diversion. Profit, let's go. Romeo actual, this is Romeo.
Got a minimum of about 43 right now.
We've got to get you in there, inside the dome. There's a war starting.
The Alpha Ceph?
No. Remember those guys who shot you for the K-Box in Siberia?
See if we can stress test it.
guys who tore the nanosuit from my flesh. The guys who are going to do the same to you. Sell those guys.
Alrighty, we're getting up here a little bit. 60s, 50s, 70s, 79. That's off into the distance. 95, 96, 98. Just kidding. It's not going to do that much.
Cell security.
Go ahead and take a look at the settings real quick, guys. Graphics, we are looking at 1920 by 1080. Yes, full screen, high system spec, high texture resolution, no VSync. Back, we'll go ahead and go to the advanced graphics. We have everything at high, anisotropic filtering at 16 times, no motion blur, and lens flares. So lens flares do add a little bit of quality. So there you go right there. You can see those lens flares. That does add a little bit of stress on the GPU depending on the environment. Alrighty guys, I think that's just about it for the benchmark. We'll go ahead and cut it here. Look at that, we were doing pretty well, about 45 plus. Not too shabby at all. So I think the last benchmark we're going to do is probably actually going to be Battlefield 3, and I'll go ahead and be right back with that. Alrighty guys, so unfortunately there's going to be no Battlefield 3 benchmark because I forgot to re-download it on my other Origin account. So the last one we're actually going to do is FurMark. Now this one's a little bit of a higher stress test. We're just going to do a quick burn-in test, maybe have it run for about 5 minutes, and we'll see what the final thing is. So of course we don't have SLR Crossfire, we just have one GTX 960 right here with it. Pretty good TDP at the current point in time. Go ahead and start this burn-in test. It is going to be full screen, I believe. It is going to be full screen. Go ahead and burn-in test it right now, and we'll see what we get after a few minutes. Alrighty guys, so after about a minute and a half, we're just sitting at the same steady FPS. Minimum of a 38, a max of a 43, and an average of 42. There's not much going on here. The temperature is sitting at actually about 76 degrees Celsius. A little higher than we wanted to, of course, and it's not really following that exact guideline of where we want it to be at 72, but 76 is a pretty good steady for something like a FurMark test. Now, that's pretty much it for the benchmarks, guys. We're going to go ahead and skip over to what is going to be the conclusion on the GTX 960. Alright guys, so do I have a conclusion for the GTX 960? First of all, EVGA. Send them with back plates. It really helps with heat dissipation, and when I pulled this baby out of the system behind me, it was pretty freaking warm. So maybe next time throw in a back plate just for the hell of it. I mean, it's a $200 card, so that's pretty nice. It's a good range. Solid performance, actually. Very solid performance. I was very impressed with it. The 128-bit bus kind of makes it falter because the EVGA For the Win edition has 2 gigs of RAM, but it's a For the Win edition. They couldn't give it 4 gigs of RAM because of that 128-bit bus on the GPU, so maybe NVIDIA should have kicked up their shit a little bit and gone with a 256-bit bus instead of a 128. It still does fairly well, and I'd definitely be willing to test 2 of these babies in SLI. That would be very interesting. I have seen some benchmarks, and they do seem to fare up pretty well, but I think I'm going to stick with my 760s for now. Real quick, I just noticed that it is a little bit longer than the other one. Just a tiny bit. Maybe about, I'd say probably about ½ an inch. That's just because of the extended shroud. As you can see kind of the difference here, there's a little bit of an elongated here, and then on the PCB it's pretty easy to tell, usually cut up probably about there. So that's pretty much it, and that's mostly because of the 11 swap fan blades instead of the 9. So would I recommend this card? If you have $200, fuck yeah, go for it. It is a great piece of hardware. EVGA does a great job of creating the heat stacks, heat dissipation, all of that's really good. As well, for overall performance from Maxwell, I'd give it probably a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10. It did pretty well when I did not expect it to, especially in Crysis 3. I wish I could have tested Battlefield 3, but Crysis 3 is pretty much the main benchmark because it is so demanding. Even the director of it and the creator basically said that every blade of grass and every individual moving artifact is its own artifact that is being rendered by your GPUs. So that makes it pretty intensive. I didn't run the other benchmark that would have kind of proved that, but it regardless still does pretty well. So thanks guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. There's going to be more build stuff to come. Probably by the end of the week there's going to be a how to build a PC video, thank God, because I know a lot of people have been asking for one. That's going to be up. That's going to be featuring this baby, my 3770K, my old motherboard, a new liquid cooler. Well, it's a Corsair H75, but a relatively new liquid cooler. I didn't think I'd put a liquid cooler in my parents' build, but there's going to be one there because a cooler chip is always a happy chip. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time.